My name's Uncle Phil.
Okay, Uncle Phil.
I have a 1932 Lincoln Convertible V12, and I'd like to trade it for gold.
The next seller walked in with a 1932 Lincoln Roadster, V12 engine. He wanted $100,000 for a car that had sat untouched in his collection for 10 years.
I got it about 10 years ago out of a museum. I want to sell the car for $100,000. I want to sell it because it never sees the light of day. It should be seen.
In 1932, America was at the bottom of the Great Depression. 1 in 5 people was out of work. And yet Lincoln still rolled out one of the most beautiful cars of the era. With fewer buyers able to afford luxury, automakers had to pour everything into every detail just to hold on to the customers they had left. Even the word trunk traces back to this era. The back seat was called the rumble seat, and the platform behind it was where you strapped down an actual trunk.
This wasn't called the trunk. This was the rumble seat because it was a rumbly ride. Yeah. And this platform is where you strapped a trunk to.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why we call them trunks of cars now.
Under the hood sat a massive V12, but with fairly modest horsepower. Not because the engineering was weak, but because the gasoline back then was simply low quality.
I imagine probably puts out like 150 horsepower. And the reason they put out a small amount of horsepower for such a big engine was because it was really poor quality gasoline.
The appraisal came in. In perfect condition, this Lincoln could fetch $170,000 at auction. But this was not a perfect car.
I'll give you $85,000 for it.
No.
I'll give you $90,000.
No, I'll take $100,000.
I'll do 95 and that's it.
No, I don't think so. I think I'm going to take it home. I know you have a lot of gold, and I'd like to trade it for gold.
We could do gold. We take 95?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Deal.
Here we go.
The $95,000 deal closed not in cash, but in gold.
I think I'll bury the gold somewhere where nobody can get it.
From a hulking piece of steel, the next story shifts to an item of an entirely different kind of significance, the value of American history itself.
I wouldn't sell for less than $3 million.
An Americana collector walked in with a 3-piece suit said to have belonged to none other than George Washington, America's first president.
It's a 3-piece suit that he acquired sometime in the mid-18th century. I purchased this George Washington suit over 21 years ago, and it was one of my first major purchases for my collection of Americana.
Washington was the one man in history who could have stayed president for life, yet he chose to step down after 2 terms, setting a standard every president since has followed. One striking detail: traces of pink still visible on the fabric. Back then, pink was a fashionable color, a mark of refinement and status.
He couldn't have been elected president until the day he died, but he stepped down after 2 terms, and he set the standard for presidents to come.
Washington was always very aware of how he presented himself.
For an item at this level, what matters most isn't the fabric or the stitching, it's the ability to prove where it came from, what collectors call provenance.
So you think this is all legit and everything, right?
Yes, I think it is. On a piece like this, what it's dependent on is provenance.
The seller stood firm at no less than $3 million for a piece he called one of the crown jewels of his collection, second only to a Washington sword he also owns.
You asked for $3 million,
Right.
but what's the best you can do? 1.5?
No.
How about $2 million?
Since we're friends, the best price, absolute best price would be $2.5 million.
Okay, and you're firm at that?
Absolutely firm with that.
I mean, okay, well, I guess the suit's out then.
No handshake this time.
I didn't get the suit, but you know what? It didn't fit me anyway.
From an American icon, the next journey crosses into an entirely different culture, where honor and legacy are forged into the steel of a samurai sword.
So I'm at 16,000, it's worth 35 to 40,000. I think I did all right, but it's not for sale. I'm just putting it in the case, so.
Over 2 years earlier, a samurai sword had been shipped all the way to Japan for a full restoration, and this was no ordinary piece. It was the shop owner's own personal sword.
Over 2 years ago, I sent a samurai sword to Japan to get fully restored. Finally, it's back in the States.
This sword was made in the early 1600s. During that time, there was a lot of one-on-one duels, so the blade has a different kind of shape, made to cut very clean and very fast.
The blade itself was forged around 1500, while the hilt and mounting were finished in the early 1600s. This restoration was far more than a simple polish. The new saya was made of real Japanese wood, coated in traditional urushi lacquer drawn from poison sumac sap, the handle rewrapped in the old traditional style, all fitted to match early 1600s standards.
We changed the casing to a new one here, and this is actually done with real Japanese urushi lacquer made out of poison sumac. We did a special handle wrap the old traditional way, and we did early 1600 fittings.
The word samurai itself comes from a term meaning to serve, because a samurai's duty was to protect and serve his lord.
The word samurai means to serve, because you were there to protect and to serve the emperor. It was one of the highest honors.
After the restoration, the sword's value was estimated at $35,000 to $40,000, double what had gone into it. But it wasn't for sale. It was strictly for display.
What's it worth?
Well, since it's all in perfect condition now with all new different set of fittings, I'd say you're looking at the sword's value in around the $35,000 to $40,000 territory.
Meanwhile, another customer was hunting for exactly this kind of piece for a weapons room he was building at home, and the shop had a sword whose lineage traced all the way back to a real samurai family.
Something like this is $40,000.
I'll go 30.
Don't look at me, man. This is your big deal.
30,000, huh?
I'll tell you what, I'll take this for 30,000 and I'll buy every one of those swords that you showed me over there too.
That's a deal I can't refuse. All right, it's gonna take me a little while to package everything up.
From a sword kept as a personal treasure, the next story turns to an item small enough to fit in the palm of a hand, yet carrying a price tag beyond belief. The holy grail of the entire coin collecting world.
The government has taken possession of every coin that's ever come out. This is the only one that they've legalized to be owned.
This is the 1,933 Double Eagle, a $20 gold piece, the holy grail of coin collecting, once sold at auction in 2021 for nearly $19 million.
There is one coin that is considered the holy grail of coin collecting, the 1933 Double Eagle $20 gold piece. And it was auctioned off in 2021 for almost $19 million.
The coin's design dates back to 1907, personally commissioned by President Theodore Roosevelt, who thought America's coins were ugly and wanted the finest design possible created by sculptor Augustus St. Gaudens. But by 1933, another Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt, signed the Gold Confiscation Act in the middle of the Great Depression, forcing all gold and gold coins to be turned in to the banks. Nearly 500,000 Double Eagles from that year were supposed to be melted down, but a few slipped out through shady dealings at the mint.
Franklin Roosevelt, he created the Gold Confiscation Act, and basically with a stroke of a pen, he made it illegal to own large amounts of gold. They were supposed to melt them all down, but there were some shady deals done, obviously, at the mint. A few of them got out in circulation.
One of them ended up with King Farouk of Egypt, the biggest coin collector in the world at the time, who secured a legal export license just before the ban fully took hold. That single license is the reason this is the only Double Eagle from 1,933 that can be legally owned anywhere in the world. The coin then vanished for 40 years, resurfacing in the 1990s, triggering an FBI sting and a long legal battle before it was finally declared legal.
In the 1940s, King Farouk of Egypt was the biggest coin collector in the world and purchased the coin in the United States, applied for an export license, and it surfaces. It surfaces in the 1990s, then came to the US. As soon as it arrived in America, there was a sting operation by the FBI.
As for condition, the coin grades MS65 near flawless, and its authenticity is beyond question.
You know, authenticity is off the table. It's definitely for sure real. It's the greatest coin there is.
We're looking for offers over $30 million.
He's willing to do $25 million. That includes my small commission.
The coin market has increased so much. There's so many new collectors. It needs to be over $30 million.
The $30 million mark stayed right where it was, untouched. After that jaw-dropping scale, the video cools down with something far more down-to-earth, a knife collection gathered over 40 years. Proof that not every story needs 7 figures to be worth telling.
You sure this is a Randall?
I thought I was sure.
It's not the mark I'm used to.
No.
A collection of 14 handcrafted knives gathered over 40 years, chosen purely for their craftsmanship with no attention paid to brand names.
These are knives that I collected over the past 40 years. These were all hand-picked. I did not pay attention to names. I bought them strictly just the art.
Among them were knives bearing the Randall name, a brand born in Florida in the 1940s, once bought up by sailors passing through nearby ports, and now one of the most collected knife brands in America. Standing out even more was a knife tied to the big screen, a real survival knife made for the first Rambo film, crafted by knife maker Jimi Lyle, complete with a hidden storage compartment for fish hooks and matches.
Okay. Randall's really cool. He started making knives back in the 1940s. Sailors would come in and buy them off him. He was in Florida. I think there was a port nearby.
He called this Rambo.
A real survival knife.
All the way down to this part here opens up for a little storage.
There should be some fish hooks and some matches and a few other things in there, right?
But not everything checked out. On 2 of the supposed Randall knives, the stamped mark didn't match what a genuine Randall should look like.
You sure this is a Randall?
I thought I was sure.
With the questionable knives set aside, what remained 3 genuine Randalls and the authentic Rambo knife went to the negotiating table.
I would take $1,200 for these 4.
Okay. Take 1,000?
And when you asked me how much I wanted and I said $1,200, I was serious about that.
You know, I normally don't do this, but $1,200 is a fair price. Okay, I'll meet you right over there.
Okay.
The buyer walked away with a grin, joking that holding that Rambo knife made him feel like a modern-day version of the character himself.
One thing I have to say is when I hold that Rambo knife, I feel like the modern-day Rambo, and I'll miss that.
From an affordable find, the video swings back into high stakes with an item tied to rock and roll legend, a guitar once held in the hands of Jimi Hendrix himself.
All right.
This guitar was actually played by Jimi Hendrix.
A 1963 American-made Fender Stratocaster came through the door, but what made it special wasn't the year it was built, it was who once played it.
1963, American-made Fender Stratocaster. Jimi Hendrix, man, he's one of the greatest rock and roll legends of all time. When he passed away, one of my business associates and I acquired the guitar.
Hendrix was naturally left-handed, but his first guitars were right-handed, so he learned to play them upside down and kept that habit for his entire career, even after he could afford any guitar he wanted. This particular guitar never once hit a stage. It was strictly a studio instrument, used on the album Band of Gypsies, and the track Nervous Breakdown.
He couldn't find a left one, so he started playing with a right-handed guitar with the strings upside down.
Yeah, he played this guitar on several records. He actually played it on Nervous Breakdown as well.
With items tied to famous names, doubt always comes first. Some pieces have come with letters from an artist's family, only to turn out fake in the end.
I have seen items where people had letters from the family.
Right.
Okay, and it turned out not to be what they said it was.
Right.
Okay, that's the one big thing that scares me.
Verification fell to a guitar expert, who inspected every detail. A tremolo bar flattened out a telltale sign of playing upside down, distinct ring wear where a wedding ring would have rubbed against the top of the neck while playing left-handed, and a serial number cross-checked against existing documentation.
The tremolo bar. These are usually bent and angled up. He played the guitar upside down. He flattened a lot of these out. That's from the guitar being this way. How Jimi would have played it. Left-handed. This serial number here, L14985. This guitar has actually been documented. No doubt, this is definitely one of Jimi's guitars.
So what do you think it's worth?
Anywhere from $750 to good auction, $1 million.
The auction number sounded impressive, but turning it into actual cash was a different story. It meant finding the right auction, the right buyer, a process that could easily take a year. That was exactly the kind of risk Rick planned to use to push the price down.
Let me give you $450,000. If you want the money now, I can go $550.
$750, really, man. That's a bottom dollar I can take for the guitar.
All right, well, have a nice day. Tell me if it goes to auction. I might bid on it.
Okay. Thanks, man. Well,
6?
I can't do it, man. But I'll call you if I change my mind.
Call me.
Okay.
From the glow of a music legend, the next story swings toward the exact opposite kind of name, not a hero, but one of the most notorious con men in American financial history.
It's Bernie Madoff's Rolex.
And one 8-carat Rolex made in 1936 came in with an asking price of $75,000. A watch once owned by Bernie Madoff, the mastermind behind one of the largest financial frauds in history.
Who's Bernie Madoff?
He's the one that put together the Ponzi scheme and stole billions and billions of dollars.
Oh, that rat.
Yeah, that rat. I bought this at the U.S. Marshal Service auction where they were auctioning off all of Bernie Madoff's personal items.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $32,000 for it.
The kind of scam Madoff ran was named after Charles Ponzi, who made millions off a fake investment scheme back in the 1920s. But unlike infamous names like Al Capone or John Dillinger, Madoff wasn't a bank robber or a bootlegger. His victims were ordinary, elderly people who trusted him with a lifetime of savings.
The kind of scam that Bernie Madoff pulled was named after a guy named Charles Ponzi, who in the 1920s made millions off a fake investment scam.
One phrase in the auction paperwork immediately raised a red flag. Professionally restored, meaning the dial and hands may no longer be original.
Oh, that's a scary word right there. When I hear professionally restored, that means that you get a watchmaker and goes, let me replace that dial for you and those hands so this thing looks good. And replaces them with a dial that looks brand new, but it's worth a lot less money.
A closer inspection showed the case and movement were genuine Rolex, but the dial and hands had been replaced, a detail that directly cuts into the watch's value.
If it was all original, we're talking the watch $35,000. With a screwed up dial, $25,000. With a replaced dial, $15,000. I mean, with the replaced parts, I'd give like 10 grand for it.
Did you go like 40,000 on it?
No, we are so far apart, this is not gonna happen.
The seller walked away convinced the watch was worth more than what was on the table.
I really feel like the watch has more value than that.
From an item devalued by a bad restoration, the next story leads to a work of art that could be worth millions if it's actually real.
Is this the weird chance that your name is Claude Monet, or is this actually the Claude Monet?
No, this is the actual guy.
A painting said to be by Claude Monet showed up at the shop collateral on a loan the borrower never came back to claim because he took the money, went to the hospital, and died.
I've had the painting for 3 years, and to be honest with you, it's not really my kind of art. I am not an art collector. But I know if it's real, it's probably worth in the neighborhood of $2 to $3 million.
Monet is the man who laid the foundation for the entire Impressionist movement. The movement's very name comes from one of his own paintings, Impression Sunrise. What made his work so great was that soft, blurred brushwork impressionism that still somehow held onto depth and detail. That's exactly why his paintings sell for millions.
The things that made Monet paintings so great, they were a little bit blurry, that's Impressionism, but you could still see detail and depth.
Along with the painting came a folder of documentation, including one striking detail. The piece had once hung at a fine art museum in Las Vegas back in 1997, insured at the time for $2.1 million. Still, the paperwork only vaguely listed it as from Monet's early period, no date, no title.
The painting was actually displayed at the Las Vegas Museum of Fine Arts.
Okay.
This was the insurance policy for that painting at that time. And it was insured at that time at $2.1 million.
They say early period, which is very vague.
An art authentication expert was brought in for the final word. He examined the front and back of the canvas, searching for the signs a piece nearly 150 years old should carry.
The first thing, if it's a Monet, it should be 150 years old. So we should at least see cracks in the painting. There is absolutely not one crack.
So is it real?
It's in the style of Monet. but it's not absolutely not by the end of Claude Monet.
Really?
Yeah.
How sure are you of this?
200% sure.
A multi-million-dollar dream collapsed in an instant.
Well, that's disappointing.
Well, thanks for bringing it in. It was fun. Man, if I lost out on millions, I would be bummed too. But not as bummed as me shelling out millions for a fake.
Before the shock of a fake painting could even settle, a strikingly similar story surfaced right after this time involving prints attributed to another master painter.
Prints that he was directly involved in the pulling of, those can be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
2 lithograph prints attributed to Vincent van Gogh were brought to a gallery for appraisal, one of the most sought-after and celebrated names in art history.
Vincent van Gogh is arguably the most collectible and desired artist of all time. These scenes, they're definitely identifiable as Van Gogh images. This one probably would have been done circa 1888. And this one, obviously more of a Parisian street scene. It looks like a lot of the same techniques and things, so I would say very close in proximity. This one probably would have been circa 1887.
Van Gogh is seen as the bridge between Impressionism and the major art movements of the 20th century, yet in his entire career, he personally pulled only around 10 or 11 lithographs. If these were truly done by his own hand, they could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Prints that he was directly involved in the pulling of, those can be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, but there are only about 10 or 11 prints that he ever did.
One detail made the expert pause for a closer look. An embossed stamp in the lower right corner, not yet identifiable as either a printer's mark or a museum's.
There's an embossing from what appears to be a French lithographer.
The emblem scares me. It's almost certainly a lithographer's stamp, or another possibility is it could be from a museum.
After careful research, the verdict came in. These were genuine stone lithographs, carefully made but produced after Van Gogh's death, while his original works in this subject matter were done in watercolor, not lithography.
They are definitely stone lithographs. They're well done. Obviously, the lithographer that did them with care, but these were done posthumously. And there's a number of things that were telltale signs. I immediately got nervous by the subject matter because I know that these were originally done in watercolor.
Posthumous Van Gogh lithographs like these are far from rare reproductions made long after his death still circulate widely in the art market. That reality set the stage for a very different number than the seller had hoped for.
Are they worth anything?
They are, but I think you'll probably be disappointed. There's been a lot of recreations of Van Gogh's work, but I will say this, these are some of the better ones that I've seen. I'd put a value of around $500 for this one, and maybe, $200, $300 on this one.
So are you interested in any kind of deal on these at all?
Not really. I don't think they're gonna sell well. I'm just being honest with you. No.
From a vision of hundreds of thousands of dollars, it all came down to a few hundred closed out by one last line.
I don't think I've ever quite been that close to that much money and then had it all fall apart.